Today, we are taking a look at the KinGrinder K6, a hand grinder that has been getting a lot of attention for its affordability and solid performance. In this video, I will walk you through the details of the K6, from its build quality and grind settings to disassembly, and how it performs for both espresso and pour over. We will also compare it with the Espresso K Ultra. Are their burrs identical? Is the K6 just a cheaper version of the K Ultra? Let's find out. Alright, let's start with the unboxing. The KinGrinder K6 comes in a pretty simple package. Nothing fancy, no high-end presentation here. Inside, you'll find a basic manual, and taped to it is a small bag with a white O-ring and a clip inside. I'll show you how to use those in a bit. Here's the handle, which has a nice wooden knob. In some markets, they've replaced this bent handle with a straight one, but you might still have the option to choose the bent one. And here's the grinder itself. The body is made of thick, solid aluminum, giving it a nice heft. The coating looks premium, and there's a rubber band with their logo in the middle for extra grip. The screw-on cup is large and deep, but it doesn't have a rubber pad at the bottom, so it might get scratched easily. It also features an external dial, which feels solid when you turn it. There's also a brush for cleaning, and that's everything in the box. The grinder weighs 630 grams, which is lighter than the Timemore S3, R3, and K Ultra, but they're all similar in size. The packaging might not impress you. Honestly, it might even look a bit cheap. Yes, it's the same box as the cheaper P2 I shared before, but KinGrinder clearly focused on the grinder itself rather than the packaging. And for a grinder in this price range, I really can't complain. The build quality is actually quite impressive. The K6 features an external adjustment system with 240 clicks in total, 4 full rotations with 60 clicks per rotation. Each click adjusts the grind size by 16 microns, giving you a wide range of grind sizes, from espresso to pour over. The adjustment dial is clearly marked with numbers, and rotating it feels smooth and precise. However, there is a catch. When I first got the grinder, I disassembled it immediately to check out the internal parts, and that messed up the grind setting. So, the 0 point on the dial does not mean the finest setting anymore, and I have not figured out how to calibrate it back to 0. If you know how to do it, please leave a comment below. But even without resetting to 0, the numbers are really helpful for tracking your grind size for different brew methods. It also has a mark for tracking the rotation, which is better than the MHW3 Bomber R3 I reviewed before. Here are the K6's recommended grind settings, and I have ground some beans at each level to show you the consistency. One of the standout features of the K6 is the ability to use it with a drill. Well, you can basically use a drill on all hand grinders, but the K6 offers a bit more convenience, like a larger hex shaft that is easier to drive with a drill, and a specially designed lid. To do this, you will need to switch out the O-rings. The K6 comes with a black O-ring pre-installed on the cap, and there is a small white O-ring taped to the manual or somewhere else in the box. For manual grinding, you will want to swap it out for the white O-ring to keep the handle securely attached during use. To do this, first, remove the black O-ring from the groove. Be careful not to lose or break it, because it is a bit tricky to take off. Then, attach the handle through the hole in the lid and secure it with the white O-ring. This keeps the handle and lid securely attached during manual grinding. I do not use both rings together. With the black ring installed, it is too tight to open and close the lid. For those planning to use a drill, make sure your drill has at least 15 Newton meters of torque. My IKEA drill struggled with this. It is quite easy and fast to grind for pour-over grind size, so I do not bother using the drill. But for espresso, using a drill might be a more efficient method. Now, let's talk about the heart of the KinGrinder K6, the burrs. This grinder is equipped with 48mm heptagonal burrs. The heptagonal design, meaning the burr has 7 cutting edges, helps slice through the beans more efficiently, producing a consistent grind size. A lot of people say the K6's burrs are identical to those in the Espresso K Ultra, so I compared them side by side. At first glance, they do look very similar. However, when I looked more closely, I noticed some differences. The lower blades on the K6's burrs are not positioned exactly the same on each cutting edge, while the blades on the K Ultra are more uniform across all edges. I don't know much about the burr geometry, so I was a bit confused when I saw this. I am not sure if these differences are a design choice, or if they reflect a difference in manufacturing quality or technique between KinGrinder and Espresso. But it is clear that the K6's burrs have some distinct characteristics. The side blades are also a bit different between the two grinders. When I compared the K6's burrs to those in the Espresso K-Max, the differences were even more noticeable, especially with the lower blades. Will these subtle differences in burr design influence the performance of each grinder? Let us brew some coffee, try it out, and see if I can find any difference in the coffee taste. Start with espresso. I set the grinder to 34 clicks. This works well for this beans. It takes about 40 seconds to grind 18 grams of beans. That's very fast for a hand grinder, similar in speed to the K Ultra. As for dialing in, it is quite straightforward. If your flow rate is too slow, just go 1 or 2 clicks coarser. If it is too fast, do the opposite and go finer. It adjusts 16 microns per step, so you have a few clicks to fine-tune your shot. The result is a well-balanced shot of espresso, with a syrupy sweetness and no harsh or unpleasant acidity. The K6 handles espresso grinding with good consistency and minimal effort. But I have heard that the KinGrinder K4 is designed as the espresso grinder in their lineup, while the K6 is more of an all-around grinder. If you have tried the K4, please share your thoughts in the comments to help other coffee lovers figure out which one is right for them. Next, let us test the K6 with a pour-over. I use a setting of 80 clicks as a starting point. To minimize static, I always spray some water before grinding, even with hand grinders. This significantly reduces static, especially with fine espresso grinds. In my tests, there was not much retention to worry about, maybe 0.1 grams. Some users have mentioned that the bearings in the K6 might rust more easily. The grinder is pretty new, so I will keep an eye on the rust issue and update you if anything changes. It takes only 30 seconds to grind 15 grams of beans. The grind consistency is very impressive, with even particles and no clumping by the look of it. When brewing, the water can flow through smoothly without any clogging. This is the medium dark roast beans. It has great sweetness, not much of bitterness. It's a really nice cup of coffee. I also brewed the same Ethiopian beans using the Hario switch with the K6, Espresso K Ultra, Time More S3, and MHW3 Bombers R3 for comparison. I used the same recipe, 15 grams of coffee and 240 grams of water, dialed in a similar pour-over grind size, and steeped for the same amount of time at the same temperature. The drawdown time was nearly identical, around 50 seconds to 1 minute. The K6 produced a cup with a bit more body, higher acidity, and complexity, along with a good aftertaste. The K Ultra had a slightly lighter body, better clarity, and a more rounded cup, with less pronounced acidity than the K6. The R3 was very similar to the K6, offering a fuller body and higher acidity, but with a bit of astringency. I didn't sift the grounds with the sifter. The S3, on the other hand, was definitely sweeter with lower acidity compared to the other three. Taste is subjective, and honestly, they all produce tasty results. Considering the K6 is around $100 less than the K Ultra, it's a fantastic deal for anyone looking for a quality grinder without breaking the bank. Like many hand grinders, the KinGrinder K6 is very easy to disassemble into parts for deep cleaning, but it can be quite challenging to put them back together, especially if you're doing it for the first time. To take it apart, turn the dial to the coarsest setting. Then, push the burr up and flip the grinder over. Be careful here. The top thumb nut, the washer, and a U-shaped clip will drop off. Don't lose any of them. At first, I had no idea what this U-clip was for, but I'll show you how to put it back later. Next, push the shaft out, and you'll see the burr. Now you can brush out the coffee residue for a cleaner flavor. Putting everything back together is a bit tricky. First, push the spring, the washer, and the bottom bearing back onto the shaft. Then, push the shaft inside the grinder body. After that, drop the top bearing in, followed by the washer. This washer has two sides. Make sure the side with the groove is facing up. Putting the U-clip back is the most challenging part. Here's the trick. Push the burr all the way up. You'll see a groove there. Slide the U-clip into the groove to lock the shaft in place. It's not easy to push the burr while putting the clip in. Here's another tip. Find a bottle cap and put it under the burr, then push the whole grinder down. This makes it easier. If you have tweezers, that's great, but if not, it might be a bit challenging to put the small clip in. Finally, turn the dial back to the finest setting. It's no longer at 0, and I have no idea how to calibrate it back. Can the more affordable KinGrinder K6 stack up against the Espresso K Ultra, a grinder that's often considered a more premium option? First off, when it comes to build quality and user experience, the K Ultra definitely feels more refined. It has a few great features that the K6 lacks, such as a magnetic catch cup, a foldable handle, and a grind adjustment dial that can be easily calibrated to 0. The K Ultra is also easier to disassemble and reassemble for cleaning, which is a nice touch if you like to keep your gear in top shape. However, these features come at a price, literally. The K Ultra is significantly more expensive than the K6. As we discussed earlier when comparing their burrs, they look quite similar but are not 100% identical. The K6 adjusts 16 microns per step, while the K Ultra adjusts 20 microns, giving you 1 or 2 extra clicks for fine-tuning your espresso shot. For pour-over, the grind quality is consistent across both grinders, and they both produce tasty cups of coffee. However, I consistently get a brighter cup with higher acidity from the K6, while the K Ultra produces a cleaner, more balanced cup with a lighter body. For those who prioritize value for money, the K6 is a great choice. It does a fantastic job at a much more affordable price compared to the K Ultra. But if you're looking for a more polished experience with some extra features and don't mind paying more, the K Ultra is the better option. The R3 and K6 are priced the same. They are both well built and have similar features, such as external adjustment, 16 microns per step, and the burr design with 48mm conical heptagonal burrs, though with quite different burr geometry. The R3 also comes with a few built-in sifters that allow you to sift out the fines for a cleaner cup of coffee. It's a fun feature to experiment with, but it can be a bit messy to use. That's one of the main features that set the R3 apart from other grinders. For pour-over, I like the flavor from the K6. The R3 seems to produce a bit more fines compared to the K6 if you don't sift the grounds. For espresso, both grinders work great and are easy to dial in. This is my review and detailed walkthrough of the KinGrinder K6. It's a fantastic deal for anyone looking for a quality grinder without breaking the bank. Hope you find this video useful. If you have any questions or experiences you'd like to share, please leave them in the comments below. See you in the next one.